We're looking at the Estate Agents Database Activity 6, which is to create a form to enter staff. Click Create, Form Design, and go to Add Existing Fields. Now in the staff table we're going to add in all of the fields. So staff ID, staff surname, staff forename, availability and job role ID. Once we've got the form working, we're going to add in a button and we're going to add in a label to ensure that you know what the form is for. Now that we've got all of these entered into the form, I'm going to save it and call it FRM staff. In fact, I'm going to save it as FRM new staff, as it will just be for entering new staff. I'm going to run it to double check that it displays all of the information. According to the form, there are 5 records, and we are going to not show any existing staff members. That's the part where it says the form should be ready for data entry. So go back to Design View, and rather than the field list, which I'm going to close down, I'm going to go to the property sheet, ensure that I've got the form selected on this box here, and go to data and change it to data entry. Save the form, run it again, and now it shows a blank box ready for data entry. But the availability should be limited to Friday, Saturday or Sunday, and it's not really up to the staff members to remember what ID number goes with what job role. So we're going to change these 2 boxes here to be more user friendly. So the first thing I'm going to do is go back into Design View and although you can convert this to a combo box, I find it easier to delete these 2 fields at the bottom and go to the combo box wizard up here. This is a list of all the controls that are available to use with your form, and we're going to choose combo box and click underneath. The first combo box is for the availability, and we're going to type in the values that we want. That's because there's not a separate table that contains the days of the week that the staff are available. So we're going to type those in ourselves using the tab key to move between the boxes. We're going to store that value in the field availability, and rather than calling it combo 5, I'm also going to label it availability. It's much easier to do this while you're running the wizard rather than rename it afterwards. Fantastic. So the next thing I'm going to do is a box for the job role. This is slightly more complex because we're searching for data from a different table that's already existing. Again, click on combo box. This time we're going to get the combo box to get the values from another table or query. We're going to use the table job role, and we need to choose 2 fields. The first field, the ID, is what would be stored in the staff table. And the second field, the job role, is what we want to display to the staff members when they're adding in someone new. Then click Next. going to sort it by job role to make it easier to search for, and click Next. Where it says here, hide the key column, that is hiding the job role ID. We don't need to see that when we're selecting the job role type. And we're going to store the value in that field, job role ID. And we're going to name it job role. Lovely. So the form should look slightly different now if we run it. I'm going to do Control S to save. Click View, and now you can see we have two combo boxes so that we can select the different types. Now you've noticed here that we've said the staff member's surname must be present. There are several ways of doing this, but one of the ways that Pearson likes you to do it is by using event code. So we're going to add in a button, and when you click the button to save the form, a piece of code is going to check to see if the surname is present, and if it isn't, then we're going to not update the form and allow the staff member to add in the surname. Right, back to it. So we've got a couple of other things to do now. So the staff member's surname must be present. Valid data should be appended to the staff table. That means a new record should be added and a save message should display. And finally, a suitable error message should appear where invalid data has been used. So when you create a new record in Access, there are two ways that you can confirm the record. I'll demonstrate both. If I go to the new record button, here we have a blank record. I'm going to type in a staff ID, a staff surname, and select the availability and the job role. So if I then from here press the tab key, you can see it goes from an edit option, because I'm editing this record, to a new blank form down here. So we need to be able to run the validation when we get to the end of the form in case we press tab. We don't want to have the form going through without a surname there. However, the most common way, the way that everyone is used to with saving a form, is to have a button. So we're going to create a single piece of code that we're going to use on a button and on an event called before update. So the update is when it writes the new record to the database table, when it appends it to the database table. In Design View, we are going to handle the form part first. So ensure that you've got the form selected by using the selector button. And before update, we're going to choose Event Procedure and click on the three dots. Now I've created a piece of code, so I'm going to use that and explain what it is rather than typing it out. So we're going to do an if statement with an else part to it. The if statement's expression, if, is null, that means is empty, staff surname, then show a message box to say you must enter a surname. The second thing is to jump the focus, that's your cursor key, back to the staff surname so that you can enter the new information. Cancel the update and exit the sub, which means to end this piece of code. If the staff surname is not null, then it will immediately jump down to the else statement and say record saved, and then it runs the update procedure. So I'll close that, and we're just going to test that. So I'll go to a new record, type in a staff ID. Going to leave the staff surname blank to see what happens when we try to update the record. So now if I press tab, ordinarily it would jump straight to a new record. I'm hoping that here it pops us up a message to say that the staff surname is empty. And it does. So I click OK. You notice that my cursor has jumped back to where it says staff surname. And now I'm going to add in the surname. Keep pressing tab to get down to the bottom of the screen again. Press it one more time. And now it's saved a record, and it will immediately jump us to a new data entry form. Okay, so that's one thing done. The next thing we're going to do is add in a button. So click View and Design View. And this option here is a button. Just draw it anywhere you like. And it doesn't really matter what you select here. But if we go into the record operations and go to save record, it has a nice little saving picture. So I'm just going to click finish. We've now got our save button. Up here it says that it's using an embedded macro, but I don't want to do that. I want to use our code. So I'm going to change that to event procedure and click the three dots to jump to the code window. Up here we're going to copy the code that we know works and enter it into the click part of the form. It's called a sub event, and close that. I'm just going to save the form and view it, click on a new record, and we're going to try the same thing again. I'm going to ignore the staff surname. And this time, rather than clicking tab, I'm going to click the save record button. It says you must enter a surname. Jumps the cursor back here. Click the save button and it says record saves. It doesn't automatically jump us to a new record, so we could do that ourselves. We could add another button here to go to a new record, but it's not required in the instructions. The final thing is just to tidy up the form a little bit, so to put a title and to also make a little mark against the fields that are required. So back into the design view, and I'm going to use a label, and I'm going to draw a small box and put an asterisk in it. I cannot remember how to change the... There we go, format. Nope, can't remember how to change the colour on that. There we go. That was all exciting, wasn't it? So just move that up, and I'm going to copy and paste that. Or cut and paste it because it's a little bit late at night. And now when we run the form, it shows little asterisks next to the fields that we have to enter. Final thing is to put a label at the top of the form to say what the form is. And I'm going to move all of this information down a bit. I could right click and put in a form header footer. And add that as the new staff form. Change the font size and change the colour if you require. Okay. So we're going to close down the form, save the changes, open it up again. It's opening on a new record, which was one of the items here. Form should be ready for data entry. We're saying that the staff member's surname must be present. The user should be able to select the job role and the availability. And we've got error messages. So one final check. I'm going to skip the surname. Click the save button. Click the save button again, and we can see it works. So if I go forward to a new record and back again, you can see that record exists in the database. And that's it.